Hi, you guys. Hello. I'm so excited we're here together. This is really, really wonderful. And thank you both for being with me here today and on Real Medicine Talks. And I'd like to introduce you to everyone. And everyone, this is Alejandra Serrano Pevan. And she is with us today, and she is an environmental lawyer and a protector of other environmental lawyers. And she is doing a lot of global work at this time, and she's also an earth speaker and is one of the people who speaks for the environment and for the earth, and is a protector and guide of the environment. And this is the amazing, illustrious Brenna Davis, who is the vice president for the environmental and social responsibility at PCC Community Markets, and also is a voice for everything from bees to turtles to dolphins to bears to mountains and streams and rivers, and a medicine person in my eyes. I really see you both as making medicine in the world and being medicine in the world, and for me, medicine is really about healing and restoring wholeness. And I see you both doing that and being very strong leadership figures in the community and globally for that work, and for environmental justice and social justice. And so I wanted to ask you to come today for several reasons, but one of the reasons is because of your friendship. And it's this really it's this really beautiful, great thing. And I was thinking about friendship and about how friendship is medicine also. And so I just wanted to ask you of course, about real medicine and what that means to you. But I was really thinking about your friendship when I was thinking about, real medicine and asking you here. So, but I wanted to also, I think we also talked a little bit about resilience and talking about resilience and challenges and tools. And so I'd like to dig into all of that, but I'd really like to start with the two of you and ask you about, what does real medicine mean to you? What does real medicine mean to the two?
To start? Yes. Thank you, Char. Thank you so much for this space, and being able to be with my sister is great. Um, well, for me, real medicine is you, no? You have been the maybe the instruments or the gates on the source for me for medicine, no? So medicine for me in this life, if we say it that way, is nature, is love, is
Oh,
family, all that energy and all that connection
mm,
that brings me to what I feel is um, the source. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the most pure life and love and that connection. No, we this is an example of that. For me, medicine has been my work because it connected me. It gave me the possibility to
mm,
connect with nature and to connect with Araceli that connects me with you. So it is that big network in this life. And of course, my family and my loved ones, no, that is for me real medicine. It's in the beings and in nature what gives me or what I have seen
mm.
that brings me to that real medicine that heals the wounds that I have, no?
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Alejandra.
And for me, real medicine is anything that brings healing to the earth and to the people. So it's kind of broad. For me, real medicine can be friendship, it can be time in nature, it can be writing, it can be cooking, it can be conversation, or just listening is powerful.
Mm.
So, yeah, my definition um, is really quite broad, and I think there's so much good out there that we can learn from and grow from. So that would be my definition. And also this podcast is called Real Medicine.
Exactly.
Sorry, this video cast.
Yeah, my little video. Thank you, Brenna. I, when I'm thinking about friendship, there's several things I think about how the two of you met, and then how long have you been like sustaining and maintaining this friendship? It's been a few
Well, we
years.
met on a trip to Mexico. Her teacher, Araceli, was on a trip and with us, and Char, I was going with you, and then we ended up sitting by each other on the trip, and we rescued a turtle together, and then we, which was amazing. We helped a sea turtle that was, by the way, sea turtle. You can talk more about this, but are impacted by a lot of viruses right now, and pollution makes it worse on their immune system. So anyway, we found a turtle and helped it, which she's saved so many turtles. But anyway, it was special. And then we stayed in touch after that ever since. I think you came to Seattle right after that,
Yes.
and I think this was in 2012.
See, I think 2012.
Yes. Which is a long time, which is amazing.
So great.
So it's that for me, it's that kind of situation that it was made. It sounds romantic, but for me it was meant to be. No, Araceli was my teacher, but I wasn't in all the part of the trip. I just went to Holbox, and I was with you guys there, and then we started talking. And also we saw our interest in sustainability, and I think it was not just that, because you can share topics with people, but Brenna I recognized my sister on her from the beginning, no? And all the magical things that it's unbelievable, and it sounds, I don't know, crazy, but all the things that happened during that trip, it was amazing, no?
It was amazing.
The thought, the things that we found walking, the turtle, the many things that happened for me, you coming to the refuge of animals to work on the healing. I mean, it was an instant connection. And after that, I started working with the organization that I'm working now. They were helping me. And I say to Brenna, she say, of course, come to here. And after that, we have been always together, no? With all the situations that we have been through.
Yeah, including COVID. We had COVID happy hours on Zoom to check in with each other. Yeah, and we had kept in touch about our families, and so. And the other thing was, I felt like our friendship was easy. Like, we met, and it was like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, great.
I recognize you, no? So,
I know you.
We talked about environmental grief. We were talking about this in the car. We both have that environmental grief, that pain that about knowing what is happening to the planet around environmental issues, and then the pain that comes from understanding the implications to future generations. And a lot of people don't understand that environmental grief, that environmental sustainability people, and others, honestly, others from other cultures, and but that some of us carry around. And so that's been really freeing too. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I can just call her and go, man, it's a down day.
Someone who gets you and like really gets what it means to be in the trenches of what the two of you are trying to do. I think about Araceli and how she talks about it. Really, it's almost as though you are not only activists for the environment, but also for the soul of the world, and the immensity of Araceli talks about, you can't just protect the animal, you have to protect the environment of the animal, right? So if you want to save the whales, you have to protect their environment. If you want to save the cocodrilos, the crocodiles, you have to protect their environment. The bird, and so so I always loved how I love how she says that. And when I think about, I think, Alejandra, about your work at Holbox and in the celebrations there, like that we get to celebrate that is now a protected area, and it is a very special, sacred area that has to be protected, and that you and your work and your team were able to do that. And it was very difficult.
Yes, it was a great challenge, but it was one of the things that I mean connected more in that importance, because in this world that we live, sometimes we get lost in profession life, no, in your development as a person, but it creates another connection, no, to know that you are dedicating your life and the other person is dedicating the life for what it's important for you. That, and I know that also in my work, no, my work, I work for an NGO that it's a network of environmental lawyers, um, and when I met that people is, I know what you go through, no, because we know the grief that we say, but we also know that it's that source, no, that it's impossible, or once you feel that, for me has been the moment that I don't see that connection is when I'm not so good, no, so it's that source that also like connect me, align me, and having that relationship and seeing another person that in another Brenna does it in another world, a different world. I do it in the NGO. She does it in the corporate, communitarian, but social, no? So for me, it's also a great bonding, because the challenges we know that are very big. Is not to be mad with the world, no? And Brenna always gives me that part that we know the challenges, but we need to uplift the spirit always, no? Because if not, you get lost on that grief. And
Oh, see. Yeah, you can get so lost, and yeah.
Yeah. And it's not to avoid it or not to feel it, no? But Brenna always gives me that part of, okay, but let's do something to uplift it, no? Because if not, you can get lost on that. And I don't think that connection is about, is the opposite, no? What we do with the sources that we have, how we repair our connections and our network, no?
Yeah. It reminds me of a little ecosystem, the way you described it. Like, you know, we all have our ecosystem of how we stay resilient, especially in work like this and social change. So it's like, you know, the self-care that so many people talk about, but Char also talks about, it's this idea, am I feeding myself? Am I going for a walk? Am I, you know, calling a friend? And where am I leaning into joy? Where am I noticing the joy in what I'm doing? You know, how am I building this skill called resilience? Because it is something that's built over time. And then, you know, how, like you mentioned too about, you know, finding, you sort of mentioned this, but, you know, finding those kindred spirits, those kindred souls that are around you, and you can look towards the, you know, the future together. And so that's really special what you shared.
Well, and I see you both as like a friend to the land, you know. And I remember when we first started working together, Brenna, and you were very, like, you were all about the bees. You still are all about the bees, but you know, not that much changed. But you know, and I see that, you know, that willingness to stand, and that the tremendous courage to be a spearhead in these environments that many people would be fearful, wouldn't be willing to change, or wouldn't create openings. I mean, hospitals, you started working, making environmental change in hospitals, and then you know, continued, you know, until you've created this, you know, this like living building, you know, co-created with PCC, this, you know, pedal certified living, absolutely, you know, void of toxins, building with local art, and you know, as much local food, and you know, no toxic waste, and you know, so I think that, or the lowest possible waste. It's so incredible, you know, just to think about, you know, the friendship not only that you've developed with humanity, but also, what kinder thing to do for the bees, or what kinder thing to do for deer or bears or dolphins, or, and so I think about that. And so as you're talking about resilience, I'm thinking about, and grief,
Yeah.
Resilience and grief, and how can we, I think that the building gives us the buoyancy. I think the stopping to celebrate things like, what you've accomplished and your team has accomplished in Holbox. I think that we have these precious, tender moments where, Brenna, you creating the openings and perspectives that are most needed in the corporate view to gain new perspective about how we can serve the earth and the environment. And empower each other to, you're really empowering other people, leading other people, and showing them. I don't really like the word modeling, but modeling, really how to, yes, darling, how can we do this? How can we do this? And so, in your perspective and in your view, in this conversation, how do you feel, what are some tools around resilience in this time, and how can we buoy ourselves and acknowledge and honor the grief? Some thoughts.
Well, for me, one thing is what Brenna was mentioning, no, personal sustainability. I also received that comment, no, how you ask for sustainability outside and you are not being with yourself, no. So for me, it's a step one, no, that if you know that you can be an instrument or a tool for a good reason, well, you have to take care of that tool to be efficient, no, and to be good with the purpose, and that means also bring joy to your life, being connected with the people you love, not just take care of your health, also the emotional part is very important, no, because of that challenge for me. So all that personal sustainability gives me resilience, and these years has been, I think, one of the most challenging decades, and more professionally and I think personally too. And that reminder and that work on sustainability has taught me that it's not all about learning the laws, no, or having a good case, or just eating well. It's all connected, because if I'm not aligned, I can't be resilient, no. I got sick, I wasn't so efficient in my work either. I was like distracted, or not being able to continue working with the communities because I was getting sick, no. So that decreased my resilience capacity, so I need to go back to have more resilience.
Yeah. And that's happened so much in people that work on social change. We just get burned out. I'm going to use positive terms. In the past, a lot of people will get burned out, but we're changing that with this conversation.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, because you think, well, I'm going to save everything. It's only on my shoulders. This is only me that can do this. Or, and you feel that grief, you feel that pressure, you feel that drive to save something or whatever. But then you forget about yourself. Like you need to be saved by yourself. Like you need to put your house in order. And it's like, those things, well, we know that when you're more resilient, like you can be more successful in your job. Like there's psychological studies that prove this. You're more successful in your job. You perform better in school. You are more likely to bounce back from a tragedy. You're more likely to, you're less likely to develop PTSD. Like there's so many benefits to it. But if you just apply that to sustainability, if we all said, okay, I'm going to become more resilient so that when these waves of life happen, these tsunamis or little big waves, sneaker waves happen in life. Hey, sneaker wave, cool. I can get back up on my feet and find my feet. so it's not cool. I mean, I don't mean to say that because it's hard when it happens at times, but you can get back on your feet. So that's why it's just important to build resilience, like she's saying. Eat, drink enough water. Do some things that you love that make your heart happy. Meditate, forest bathe, go out into the forest. Just go, and like Char has said, just go sit in nature for a minute a day if you can, and just what a difference it makes. And we also know that, like, if we swim in the ocean, our heart rate drops. I mean, there's so much available to us in nature to help build our resilience, and we can access it.
It's interesting. I was thinking about, what you're talking about with the resilience. I was thinking about yesterday. I went with my partner to do some forest bathing, and it was really incredible just to be there. And we were on the Wind River, which is right between Oregon and Washington. And just to swim in the river with the mergansers. I think there were mergansers there, and so incredible. And all the skipping little water, the little water, there's just so, but if we can, I always pray when I'm there, I'm always asking, what is most needed here? And I think the prayers of protection. And so when I think about resilience and self-care and some of the tools, I also think about, the soul of the environment, like, and our own souls, like Brenna, I heard you mention also the meditation, and Alejandra, what are the things that will cultivate joy? And I think that those are things of the spirit. Like, I really see the soul as what animates the body, so how can I, what are some tools that would really assist me in the sustainability of my own environment, in addition to these other environments and other people's, because you're both doing global work, and I know that in Mexico, in some of our trips to Mexico, that one of the things that's often spoken about by the Mayan shamans that live there is that we are the beginning. Right? What happens to us happens to the world, and it's all centered in the heart. That the Mayan belief is that everything is centered in the heart. Are there 80 words, I think, in the Mayan language for heart? Yeah. It's like 80 words for heart. Like, we only have one word for heart, like what's going, so I think about that, and I think about some of the cosmologies that are really there, that are becoming known to us, that are very spiritual or soulful. And I wonder about that for each of you, really, because I see you both as, I call it spiritual activism. And I see you both very much as spiritual activists, in addition to the practical day-to-day activism that you're doing. And I also see you as spiritual activists. And so I just I was curious about your thoughts on that, and what surfaces for you around that.
I blanked out. I had a moment where I just was like, wow, this is so deep. I'm in the depths. And no, about the soul. I think you're asking about me, about tending to our souls. And yeah. It's funny. I've noticed that the things that I used to do to tend my soul have shifted. Like, I'd love to garden, but over the past 3 or 4 years, it's been good, but it's like the need of my soul is shifting a little bit. Like, I've really been into learning more and taking classes and expanding my mind and doing all of that. So that's one thing I'm noticing about my soul. I also notice that my soul is so much different than my thoughts, because I have these thoughts all the time, and they just come and go, and I have to remember, like, that thought is not me, that's a thought. And so there's something about, like, how the soul is just so different than a thought. The other thing I think about is, what's my responsibility to other souls, in my leadership? How do I encourage other
Yes.
people to tend to their souls and what brings them joy? And how do I, and Allie, you do this too, and how do I develop the next generation of environmental leaders that are coming up behind me, environmental and social leaders, so that we can continue this lineage of, um, you know, my soul's work, which is, helping to heal ourselves and the planet. Um, and so that is something that brings my soul joy, is helping people be successful at it, or giving whatever I can to help the next generation, especially women and people of color that are coming into this field, because we need them. And we need them to solve all of these problems. We need everyone at the table to solve these problems. And so
It has to be
it
collaborative. Yeah.
has to be everybody. And so I on Fridays, um, almost for 7 or 8 years, almost 10 years, I meet with someone that emails me and says, "Hey, Brenna, I'm interested in this field. Will you meet with me?" So I've been doing that in mentoring for almost 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that wasn't a very esoteric response, Char, but those were my three, random thoughts as I went into the depths of that.
Oh, that's
What do you
so
got, Allie?
great.
Oh, no,
Great. I think,
that's the baseline.
well,
I think she explained her spiritual activism. No, she's working on the souls, and it's how I
mm,
think is what you asked. For me, is I mean, it makes me complete sense because I connected with this work because I saw that part of I love law because of the part of justice. But when I started practice law in my country, well, there's a lot of corruption, so the system for me. But when I found environmental law, it gave me a connection to me, no, to my soul.
Yeah.
So it is really what you are saying, and it's two words that has been so stigmatized. Spirituality and activism both has
yes.
been used in a very bad term, no, and for me both together completely explains what I do and why I'm working on this, no, because I didn't want it to be part of the other system, but for me working on justice was something that got my attention, and it's when I feel that I found my path. No, I when they people ask me why I decided to, or when I knew that I wanted to work on environmental law, for me it was when I was in my work, no, and I was finding my path there while I was working it. I'm really haven't been like the perfect student, and for me it's more practice, and this work has given me, and this context has given me the practice of that spiritual activism with the people that I relate to, because if I wasn't working with Araceli, I wasn't able to meet you maybe, or maybe other way, but it has been what keeps me in that movement, no, in this movement that of course is about my work and is my professional life, but I have seen that it's already outside my professional life. No, it's in my personal life and it's in my network, and I see that kind of activism. It can give me more joy, and I'm still working on that because sometimes it's very easy to be judgmental with the people that is not on that spiritual activism or in that world, and we can be judging a lot, or at least I sometimes I can fall on that. So I'm trying to work on no, go to the good part of the source, uplift the spirit, and reconnect to what really keeps you that start the light. No, what keeps my flame start all the time is what I need to keep feeding, because if not, I start losing all the joy in life and the joy to my work, no? And it can happen every day. If you get lost on that, or it could, you cannot fall on that one day or 1 month, or could do that, no. And also, it's something that I love about our friendship is that we are very humans with each other.
Yeah.
And we know that falls and how
Yeah.
we know our sides.
Oh.
And it's great because we are still, no, we don't have an engagement, but yes, we have it, our souls, no?
Yes. See, and then recognition, of one another and of the work before us. And, you know, there's many bloodlines. I have a confluence of so many different bloodlines within me. And what I've noticed in all of them, there is almost this poetic reverence. Like, I also have some Iranian and or Persian, and I always think of like Rumi, and his connection to the divine, and how his work really, to me, it feels very much like there's an activism there,
For sure.
in his work and in his words, and so when I think about that, I'm wondering, what words, or because I feel like there's a divinity in what and that the earth herself, if you were to genderize, or that the earth is a receptive being, and that the earth is a divine being and an alive creature. I mean, in many traditions, the earth is a person and has the needs of a person, and has rights and expressions and thoughts. And I think you've heard me talk about this before, but it's almost as though I just want to ask, how can we listen? Something that you brought up earlier, like how can we listen and respond so that we can help the earth build her? How can we become a friend to the earth?
Well, first I want to say I think we're all of the earth, so I think we're born as a friend of the earth.
Oh, Brenna.
That's the name of a nonprofit too, so it's
so gorgeous, you guys.
We are born as a part of the earth, and I think children and babies, we've all talked about this at some point together. Children and babies, they know that and they understand it, and the wonder and the joy that they treat nature, with which they treat nature, is just inspiring to watch. I think the other thing is, I pray every day, almost every day. Some days I don't. I don't want to front, Char, but I do pray most days. And my prayers include a prayer to the earth and for the earth. And in the Irish Celtic tradition, her name is Danu, mother.
Danu.
Yeah, in the Irish Celtic ways of my ancestors. And it's the other thing you can do too that's really amazing is that the earth is holding you down to her. If you're walking on her, she's spinning and holding you there. So sometimes it helps, like when I've done coaching or met with clients, just to say, feel the earth under your feet, feel that connection and the gravity that exists because you are being held where you are by the earth. So it's by our very nature, even the air we breathe and where we're walking and everything, we are so connected. But it's when we get into the thoughts that we disconnect. So how can we just be in our bodies? I know that's hard for some people. How can we work towards being in our bodies and just feeling the earth below us? And that's really a great first step. And I do use that all the time in meetings or like whatever. Now my colleagues know, but I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to be present. I'm back, I'm here, and I'm just going to feel the earth under me. And there's an intimacy with that. There's a sense of intimacy that I feel there, based on the science too, but it's real.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bren explained it very well. We are born and we are friends already. At some point we unplug that part or disconnect that information, but we are really, for me, what connects me or reminds me that I'm just a part is being outside of nature. And I think this pandemic has been a good opportunity for many of us to reconnect. No, now we know better that we want to be on open spaces and we want to be on a park, and we love to see a tree more than four walls around us. No, so just look for that um, moments that makes us see that we are just stardust. No, that we are just a part of everything, and it's not. For me, what it helps is forget about me, not my sustainability, but it's not about me. No, that it's when I feel that it makes sense is when it's not about me, not about my professional life. No, it's about what gives me that joy and that connection. So when I go, when I connect with one person, I have been doing the more than exercise to see that is nature to another person, and maybe the person that I don't like or the person that I have challenges with is part of our ecosystem and is part of life. No, what for me has been a topic because it's happening in Mexico, but I see it a lot is that I see a part of a division, so much division in opinion. Social media helps also to that kind of discussions, and we can get lost on that noise. So what takes me out of that division, because I can get on one side, no, and judge the other. So what keeps me back to I'm just a part of a bigger thing is what reminds me to connect and remind me that I'm a friend of the earth, and I feel it's some way that it could help to others. No, do something that is not about you. It really gives you more than you think. No, to give the chance to do some time outside, but also if you can work in some cause in one communitarian work, it reminds us that we are part of everything. Of course, the environmental work is necessary, and that's why we are working in next generations and supporting the people that is speaking and fighting for that. But don't forget that we are part of a great and big ecosystem, because the vision doesn't allow us to be connected, no? And to find any way to reconnect to that, I think it will make us to be friends of the earth and from life, no? Because at the end it's about life and this reality that we are sharing, and why not making it better for everybody, no? And it means working in equity, to work in justice and in diversity. I think that for me it's that connects and gives the plugs again, no?
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Oh.
Okay, in the US they call us tree huggers because we're like, you know that phrase.
Yeah.
When was the last time you hugged a tree?
I love it.
It was during the last month, of course.
I know we did. Mine was June.
But it's great not to be offended about it. No?
It's so great.
It's really for me now. It gives me. I mean, it not worries me that, because when you know the joy of doing it is not about how you are seen, no, or the leadership.
Right.
It's not about that, no.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so interesting to me that love, because really hugging is an expression of love, and to love anything is a grace.
Yes.
And a bounty and a gift, and that love isn't like celebrated and uplifted, that it's something that's kind of like spirituality is a form of love. It really is a love of the divine, whatever tradition that expression is. So it's really powerful to be like, oh, how can we uplift our love of nature? And I often bond with trees by, well, I always ask permission first, permiso, before I approach, but then I leave a gift, and then but I'll press my head against the bark and listen, And oh, there's so many beautiful sebas in Mexico. We have had many bonding seba moments, but yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Look at the bark of a ceiba tree. Did you ever really look closely? It's like a universe in
sí.
itself. There's, you notice that too, because there's a moss, and then there's
Sí.
ants that live in it, and it's like a whole
And then
whole community. And when I was with you, and I think we were hugging the ceiba tree, and then an ant pinched my cheek. Remember that? And it was like, whoa! I just intruded on their universe. Do you remember that?
Oh, wow, it's a cosmos.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Sí, no, and Ceibas are the connection from the world to underworld to the Xibalbá, no? That's why they have those roots, because they connect with the underground system.
Yeah.
And if we take the opportunity, there's an universe in a person, in a plant, no? It's that kind of observation. Stand and be in there, no? We are in rush all the day just to be and observe a person or something that is not just ourselves. I think always gives some win and laugh, no? For me, laughing.
Oh, laughter.
Sí.
Yeah, we laugh a lot. That's really interesting, though, this idea, like, of when you stop to look for the universe in something.
Yes.
Like we were seeing the documentary about mushrooms, and it's
mushrooms,
and all the universe, no? It's
the mycelia,
and how we walk through it and we don't see it, no? When we want to see, we can see a universe up and below and everywhere, no?
Yeah. The spectacular miracle of everything we've been given. You know, the tiniest, most precious thing. There was yesterday, I was watching a bird, and the bird was jumping on a stone in the middle of the river, and it had such small wings, and I don't know what kind of bird it was, and which is rare for me. I have a bird thing. Yeah, it's really out of control. But I didn't know what and it was just dancing on this rock, and I was just so mesmerized by this being, and enchanted with the miracle of this tiny bird on this stone in the middle of Wind River. So I think that there's just these, you know, the miracle of everything we lay our eyes on, and the scientific, the soulful science, you know, that we're really being asked to practice at this time. And so I wanted to close. I wanted to just ask you about tools for resilience. What are some good tools that would help with resilience? And just, are there any closing words that you would like to say about unity, or social justice work, or environmental justice? Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing that is on your heart?
Well, about environmental justice, yes, I think we have a challenge, no, as a species, because I think it's not just one town, one nation. As a species, we have a challenge and a great opportunity. I think we all are grateful for how the new generations are speaking out, are pushing us to take more topics, no, to bring it to learn and bring it to our vocabulary, to what we do. For me, now there's so much violence and many reasons to avoid seeing the challenges that we have as a species, that we can get lost in the day by day on the screens, no, and on our work. So I would like just to highlight that to work for environmental justice, or for justice, it doesn't need to mean being fighting, or being as the advocates that are fighting on the front, no. Our work will be support that people that is speaking out for everybody, not just for themselves, for communities, for the ecosystems. For me, it was now is making sense to be part of the support for them, but also for nature. But have a role. No, I don't think that as a species we can keep avoiding having a role in this movement. It's not being in front or seeing just as a fight of dedicating just all of your life. It does. I don't see it that way. No? I don't think that people dedicating their life to other areas, and I see it. You can be working for that equity, for that justice, in whatever you do, or maybe engaging in another kind of topics. But I would like to invite to do that kind of analysis. Now, how I can engage, I don't need to be on the front, or how I care about that people that is really taking care of something that benefits me, and they are risking lives. It's a hard topic, and I don't want to finish with a dense topic, but just to be aware that if we don't engage of that, we are part of the injustice. No, if we don't see as a consumers what we use, what we are part of, or which systems, we are part of the problem. So I think if we are talking about uplifting the spirit, why not move to how be the solution? No, not feel the part of the problem. There are so many ways to be part of the solution, supporting, being there, or engaging in your main work. That there are many ways to do that. No, and it means creativity, which it's a topic that I love, and that's why I love to talk with Brenna, and I think it's part of our work, and what we like is creativity. Know how to be creative, even for a lawyer. We can be creative, no?
Very, very creative. Oh yeah.
No, I would like to leave that message that there's people fighting outside, that there are so many happening, and we can't be putting our side away for what is happening. We don't need to be on the front, but we should be part of the solution. No?
Thank you, Alejandra. And I think that I'm really grateful. I think it is important that each of us takes that role seriously, and that we are actively serving however we can the well-being of the earth. So I love intense topics, and I'm always happy to close on them. So like, let's get uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm good with discomfort. I appreciate it so much. And you spend a lot of time in that discomfort, and I'm so grateful to you. And so I think it's something we all need to be sitting in right now, in a good way, like you said, for the creative solution. Right. So thank you.
Yeah, and for me, reflecting on what you said, Ali, and then your question, I think, for me, the definition of sustainability is something reducing the environmental impact. Is it equitable and just for people? Is it beautiful, and does it actually function, right?
Does it work?
So if it meets those 4 criteria, it's kind of like my rule of thumb about like how I think of something sustainable, and the beauty's in there. Well, environmental is obvious, and so is the social piece, the equity piece. The beauty piece is there because if it's not beautiful, people won't want to use it or visit the building, and they won't want to be in it. They'll be like, that's the ugliest thing, let's tear it down. And it has to be functional, because if you can have all those things, but you can have a piece of crap cup or something that doesn't actually work, and then you're not going to use it. So for me, I think about those 4 things, and so equity is just completely integrated into the way I think about sustainability, just as a baseline. But the other thing that I'm really committed to is solving, let's see, how do I say this? Helping to address climate change so that intergenerationally we can give them the best shot they can have at having a good life. And it's getting tougher. We're seeing climate change that she and I have learned about for 20 years and trying to tell people, and you too, Char, you know, but, and people probably on the call too, or on this video, but you know, we're seeing it happen, and it's going faster than what the scientists predict.
Yes, it is.
And they're inherently conservative. So whatever you hear them predict, just know that they've probably dialed it back. So, and so we're seeing this shift happen. We're seeing it change. And so we really urgently need to say, okay, we need to help the people on the fence lines. We need to help the people that are most experiencing this, and get resilient fast, because there's more coming, and it's not, we haven't even seen, our lives are changing. And so, you know, how do we give those next generations the best shot we can at having a good life? And that is by reducing the carbon we emit, no matter what we're doing. And we've got to figure that out. We have got to figure that out. And I don't want to get technical, so I won't. But
I appreciate your scientist always. Your scientific view.
Bless them, and let's figure out how to do it faster and in every way we can. And
we have agreement in the background.
And they're loyal. And so, yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, this is intergenerational environmental justice.
Powerful.
Yeah. So get resilient in this generation, get as resilient as we can, get as healthy as we can, and do everything we can to mitigate it from getting even worse for the next generation. So giving them the best shot.
Giving them the best shot. Those who are yet unborn.
Those who are yet unborn.
To be a friend.
I'll never know their names, but bless them.
Place we will never visit the future.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, good friends. Thank you so much. Yes, soul friends. You are soul friends, right? And so, Anam Cara. Yes, you are Anam Cara to one another, and you are Anam Cara to me and to the earth. And so I thank you. I thank you so much. And I think I would like to close with this is actually a poem by John O'Donohue called It's a Blessing for Friends. May I read this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It says, may you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure all which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, and may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessing, challenges, truth, and light you need for your journey. May you never be isolated, but may you always be in the gentle nest of belonging with your Anam Cara. Your Anam Cara. I know. Yes,
One thing we love to do is to eat. So after this, we are going to a nice dinner. So
oh, that's lovely. Lovely. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you both so much. And I'm going to end our live feed here. So just one moment. Thank you so much. What an honor.
Thank you, Char.
What an honor and gift.